When you begin to level up, when you begin to get into this place where you're in the alley and you know that you got to unlock that next level, you got to understand and you got to dig for these things. Oh, you got to dig for these things. You can't afford to leave your traumas on the table so that and not pick them up and to deal with them. You cannot afford to leave those transitions just on the table and not pick them up and deal with them and use them, right? You cannot afford to leave those transformations on the table and not use them to help somebody else transform. Welcome to the place where visionaries, leaders, and kingdom builders come when you are in the alley, as I help you discover the keys to unlock your next level of clarity, strategy, and confidence. I'm Dr. Latanya. Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, Dr. Latanya, and today we are diving right into this thing. Why? Because playtime is over. It's time for the big leagues, okay? As I was preparing and just really thinking about what I wanted to share with you, especially if you're a visionary, a leader, a kingdom builder who is in the alley, I heard the Lord say, playtime is over, okay? Playtime is over. I know so many visionaries, so many leaders, so many builders who are in this place where you want to see what is next. You want to move into this thing with confidence and with the strategy and clarity that you need. But you've been on this playing field for quite some time and you've gotten comfortable right there. And so one of the things that I know for sure that needs to happen right now is that you need to dig. You keep digging. It is time to get your shovel out. The thing that I need you to dig on, though, is a little bit different than what you might think, okay? And I started to realize some things that might be holding you back from my experience of working closely with visionaries and leaders, right? And I want to make sure that we begin to dig in those things today, okay? We begin to dig because the only way that you're going to see the progress, the only way that you're going to see the next level, the only way that you begin to see what is on the other side of your transition or this alley phase is to make sure that you dig yourself out from some things and to move wholeheartedly in the things that God has called you to do by digging deep into these three areas. Are you ready? We're going to dig deep into your traumas. We're going to dig deep into your transitions. And we're going to dig deep into your transformations. Come on, 3 T's, okay? Because the Lord speaks to me like an old school Baptist preacher, okay? He had my T's lined up, my P's lined up, all that, okay? So as I really think about this, I want you to really think with me. I want you to take the time to dig with me. I'm going to begin to talk about some things for each one of these areas, and I know that they might cause a little discomfort, okay? They might feel like, I'm digging up a little bit on your end. It might feel like I'm stepping on a toe or two, okay? I promise we all gonna be fine. We all gonna be fine. But here's the thing, visionary, if you don't deal with these three things, if you don't dig into these three things, then you will not see the level of success, the level that you desire, and the level that you're trying to move into right now if you don't dig into these. So the first one, we're going to go ahead and dig into your traumas. In order to see your next level, especially when you are stewarding people, you need to dig into your own traumas. You got to begin to deal with your own stuff. Oh my God. Your traumas will help you see the lens that you're looking through. Have you ever heard someone say that, especially a therapist, to say that, the things that you've experienced, the things that you've gone through really help you, help shape the lens that you look through, right? And so as I look at certain things, your view might be different than my view. Why? Because of the traumas and the things that we've experienced. All the little collection of moments and experiences in our lives really build that lens, right? That we begin to look through. And so one of the things I want you to know and understand is that it is so important to know your traumas. Why? Because if you are a person who has had trauma in a very specific area, then you're going to see through that lens. And there might be things going on with you. There might be things going on with your team. There might be things going on with vendors and people that you begin to work closely with. There might be things happening in your life, and you don't want to see them through the lens of trauma, which taints how the scenario really should be seen. Okay? If you know that you're one who has gone through certain experiences in your life, then you have to then check yourself to see and understand if you're looking through that lens. One of the things that I know that I've had to work on for years is trust. One of my favorite books is Trust by Dr. Henry Cloud. I read that book all the time, okay? At least once a year. Why? Because I'm always making sure that I'm clear, right? My traumas or betrayals relate back to a lack of trust. And so if that is the case, then I have to make sure that I am clear and that I understand what my trauma is and what I've experienced, so that when I work closely with people as a visionary, as a leader, as I build, as I begin to create blueprints, as I become, right, that I am not treating people through the lens of the lack of trust. And that I am treating them in a way that says, I trust you, right? And so here are the things that I want to do. Here are the things I want to put in place so that we can work closely together, all right? So whatever your traumas are things that you have to dig into to really understand the lens that you're seeing things through. Because if you don't, then your lens is going to be tainted in such a way that it's going to mess up your whole building process. Could it be that you haven't moved into that next level? Could it be that you haven't stepped into that next phase? Could it be that you haven't received that next blessing? Could it be that you haven't moved into your next phase of building because of the lens that you're seeing through because of your dreams? Oh, Lord. It could be. So there's some digging to do there. I know I might be digging up some stuff right now, but it's something to think about. The second area that you really have to dig in when you're a visionary, a leader, a kingdom builder who really wants to get to the other side, who really wants to move into that next level, especially when you're in the alley, you have to dig into your transitions. Those transitions are going to help you understand the pivotal moments of your life that changed you. Yeah, the very things that happened, the experiences that you had, good and bad, right? That really help you to see differently, that really help to change your mindset, that really help you to move and create movement in your life. Those things really shape the way that you show up, right? If you had something happen in your life and you're like, listen, when I got to this point in my life, I realized that I can no longer be mediocre. Oh, I have a story like that. When I was getting baptized and I was dipped into that water and I came up, I heard the Lord say, you're leaving mediocre in the water. And I was like, I didn't even know I was mediocre. Like, what? Like, I thought I was good out here. Absolutely not. And so that was a pivotal moment in my life, right? That transition that happened when I was baptized or rebaptized and coming up knowing that I was leaving mediocre in the water gave me an opportunity to then see things differently. Gave me an opportunity to shift my mindset. And so now as a visionary, I know that I cannot go back because I had a transition. When you are going through the alley, you must dig into and dig up those transitions. There are two sides to the transition coin. One is that those transitions really help to shape your mindset, and so you can tell people about it in a good way and help them understand the things that, help move you, shape you, and change you, right, into the person that you are today. And those transitions also serve as moments that you go back to and you tell those stories. Transitions make for really, really good stories and really good brand stories and really good stories that you tell, the people that you have been called to serve, especially if you're stepping on anybody's stage or you're a speaker, right? One of the things that I love, I say I have a couple signature stories as I speak, as I am on stages, as I am, speaking in faith-based communities or corporate communities. I have this set of stories that normally just kind of come up. They are pivotal moments. They are transitions in my life where something happened that shifted my mindset, and now I can begin to share those things with the audience, right? To help them shift their mindsets as well. Since we're digging, you ready? We're going to keep on digging here, because that third area that you're going to dig in are your transformations. Very much like those pivotal moments, but these are the moments that you completely transform. You ever heard somebody say, I did a whole 360? Well, that means they were actually the same. What I want you to talk about is the whole 180, okay, that you did. If you did a 180, if you were one way and transformed into a completely different person or a completely different version of yourself, those transformations are things that you have to understand, because those transformations are going to help you then move other people into transformations as well. Transformations are the tips and the strategies that you have for other people as well, right? And so as you think about what I've been through, what I've experienced, when you start to think those things to yourself and how you transform, you want to capture those as much as possible. One of my great transformations that I talk about regularly is how I moved from religious and ratchet, okay, into a relationship with God. That was a huge transformation, which makes it a very signature story as well. And so one thing I know is that it's important for me to share that story, because I want people who are religious and ratchet, i.e. going to church, doing the same old thing, doing the same old stuff, right? When they leave, mine was just a little bit more on the ratchet side. But I want people who are in that space to realize that they can also be transformed into into true relationship with God, where they see Him, experience Him, feel Him, and they are able to move into another level of relationship with Him because they spent that quality time, right? That's my story. It's my transformation. And so I love to tell it. When you begin to level up, when you begin to get into this place where you're in the alley and you know that you got to unlock that next level, you got to understand and you got to dig for these things. Oh, you got to dig for these things. You can't afford to leave your traumas on the table so that and not pick them up and to deal with them. You cannot afford to leave those transitions just on the table and not pick them up and deal with them and use them, right? You cannot afford to leave those transformations on the table and not use them to help somebody else transform. It is time for the big leagues. And if you are still playing on the same playing field, it might be because you haven't dug into these three things. I believe that when you pick up your shovel, literally, figuratively, however you want to do it, when you pick up your shovel as a visionary and say, listen, I'm going to go ahead and dig into these traumas because I don't want them to hold me back from my team. I don't want them to hold me back from my next level. I don't want them to hold me back with fear and doubt and all of those things. I want to actually move into what's next, right? That means I got to deal with it. When you pick up and dig up all of those transitions and those transformations and those traumas, something begins to change. You see yourself differently. You see yourself as the person who can move into those spaces. Why? Because you've now gathered these things that you dug up, and you have made room. You have made room to receive what is next, because you can properly deal with those traumas, transitions, and transformations, so that now they not only help you, but they help other people too. Visionary, if this is for you, I want you to leave a comment. Let me know what in this video stood out to you, right? I know that this is kind of deep, right? We touching on a little bit deeper topic here, especially as it relates to your trauma. So you don't have to spill everything in the comments. But if you want to spill everything, I'd love to have a call with you. Go ahead, use the link in the description, because one of the things that I love to do, especially as a therapist with a strategy brain, as well as an organizational brain and a prophetic brain, is I like to help you point out the cycles, help you point out the patterns, and help you realize that you got to move past some of these things in order to build, in order to create blueprints, and in order to be the one who God has called to build and become at the same time. Okay? But listen, don't you worry, because you got me here to guide you through the process, so you will not have to do this alone. make sure you join the community. Hit subscribe, join the YouTube community, and then the link in the description will give you all the details you need to actually sign up for the community as well, okay? Remember, you got the keys. And because you got the keys, you have what it takes to dive deep into all of these areas to see what God said. Let's go.